Hello and good morning. Good morning. You are watching This Morning, and no, I am not Ibrahim Sori Balde, but this is QTV's This Morning program, our breakfast program that's better than the warmest, hottest, darkest cup of coffee. And I'm presenting today, and co-hosting with me I have Mr. Umboj. Great to have you here.
I mean, really, the cup of coffee should have complemented this whole thing.
Would have been ideal.
But absolutely, here it is. Bakari Sane, thank you very much.
And we have also, to go through the newspaper review with us, our MD, Malik Kar. Mr. Kar, pleasure to have you here.
Good morning, and thank you very much. It's my pleasure always to join you, the two sages.
Sage, and who's the onion?
Oh, that hurt.
Two sages. But to the viewers, welcome. And as usual, we have a packed program. But there's one we might have to change. But at the moment, we're hoping to speak to some farmers in the North Bank region because they're going through their harvest. And we're also hoping to speak to an author of a book called My Father's Mistake. What was that mistake? We'll find out when we speak to Babukar Balde, the author of that book. But I'm intrigued already. Ibrahim Balde, who had read the book, is not here, unfortunately. So we'll have to quiz the author when he does come in. But yeah, so I guess I should head straight into the African proverb. And it's a juicy one. It says, pearls don't lie on the seashore. If you want one, you must dive for it. Yeah. Pearls don't lie on the seashore. If you want one, you must dive for
Good things don't
Mr. Kar, you're nodding already, so I'll go to you.
Yeah, I think that
first.
But literally, you can agree to that because anything good, you have to really earn it. You have to work hard, you have to have the courage, and you have to have the determination. Otherwise, you just end up with the, rubbish stuff. So it's always good to dig deep. If you want a diamond, you have to go way deep inside the pitches, as you may know, in order to extract it. So good things are not found on the surface. So you have to really struggle to get them. That's my interpretation.
I think it's a clear-cut one, but just for your interpretation, Mr.
Absolutely. For me, sort of the interesting angle, really. Now, imagine divers diving into the ocean, going to look for pearls. But it's so dark and so dangerous, you are not guaranteed of anything. I think that idea of taking risks, I think is really very important to this proverb. But what does that mean? Sometimes you might not succeed. I think that's the difficult truth really buried in this. So how do I deal with it? To my mind, you gave it your all. You took your chances. That's really where the moral agency is. Anything else, there are bigger powers out there. There's nothing you can do about that. Just be honest with your input.
This is good because
your philosophical intellectual acumen really evades my understanding. Anyway, that's interesting. I think
interesting angles from both of you because yes, I mean it's I guess one of the kind of more obvious ones is that if you want something that's good or great, you have to strive for it. And I think you gave the examples of the literal example of digging for gold, digging for diamonds. These are things that we hold as precious, precious minerals, and you don't just pick them off the floor, sometimes. And sometimes it's risky because we see even in that literal sense when somebody's digging for diamonds, they can go for years and find nothing. As Mboy said, nothing is guaranteed. And maybe the time you take a risk might be the time you find something, but equally it might be the time you lose your life because it's very, very dangerous. So sometimes that which is desirable, you take a risk in order to get it.
I think what essentially is hard work rewards. So you put in the hard work, usually you end up harvesting, having a good harvest. A lazy farmer just sitting by, and then contemplating does not have a good harvest for most of the time because the weeds would have eaten your, crops. And so therefore hard work always pays a dividend.
And that's a good one, particularly in the farming season, because the farmer next door who went out and did the back-breaking work, of sowing and weeding and so on, when it's time for harvest, he has a rich harvest because he put in the work. And you, the guy who just sat back and you sowed your seeds, but he did nothing else.
Yeah.
He said,
I
"Oh,
think
let
now
nature
with,
take
with
its
the
course."
advent of technology, maybe we could say a lot of that.
Yeah.
You have a lot of people working extremely hard, and somebody will just have a machinery drone or something. I think anyway.
You
with
wanted to
time,
come in,
and
but-
then-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What I find striking here, astonishing. Luckily, I just finished, as I said to you the other day, Rose Trement's color.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Here, the color is gold.
Yeah, yes, yes.
People who left Britain went to New Zealand
Yes.
prospecting for gold.
For gold, yes.
It was extraordinary, their state of mind. You will be amazed, the kind of illusions, though, that got them going.
Yes,
Extraordinary.
yes.
How we
Yes.
play with all of these things, and it's really our fantasies
Yeah.
that really get us going. And that's the bit that we are sort of suspicious of.
Yes, yes.
Yet it's extremely rare.
Yeah, but
Fuel.
that is the human story.
Yeah, that's the human story.
Of the human
That's the
journey,
human story,
of
yes.
curiosity, of crossing rivers and seas
Absolutely,
and oceans, just to find out what is on the other side. And that is how development
Exactly.
and civilization evolve.
Yes.
They
How
must have
dreams.
crossed oceans to see what's on the
Absolutely.
other
In
side.
the
You
old
see where
days,
dreams can take you.
yes,
It's
in the old
extraordinary.
days, there was the
Extraordinary.
thing, there be monsters.
Yes.
People didn't go to
They were
certain
part of the
places.
story, yeah.
Yes.
Because they thought they were monsters. And then one day somebody said, you know what,
go
I'm going to
find
go and
out.
find
Yeah.
out if there are
Especially in
monsters there.
Greek
The first
mythology.
scientists, maybe.
yeah.
We have to go and see.
With Greek mythology,
Yeah.
Theseus and all this, there were lots of monsters when you go
Yeah,
to find something, or dragons with 5, 7
That's right.
heads, So
Yeah,
these are
okay.
things. Well, essentially, I think working smart and working hard will always get you
You'll
the
get the
results.
reward, yeah.
So what you're looking for, if you're looking for something good, you have to put it in. Whether it's education,
Yeah.
you have to put in the hours, burn the midnight candle. Whether it's in search of world pursuit, looking for beauty, any of these things, there has to be that effort with courage and smartness in order to get the end result.
Yes, I like the thing about burning the midnight candle. When I went to a boarding school in Bo, in Sierra Leone, Christ the King College, I'd always wondered how it come for about 4 or 5 years. They had the best results in the country. Because I was in Freetown, Bo was 180 miles or whatever it was away. When I got there, I think on day one, I realized. Whereas in Freetown, we would do our homework and finish, watch TV and so on. There, everybody, virtually the whole school was a boarder. Everybody was in boarding school. The bell would ring for the end of study period and nobody would get up. They just carry on studying till very, very late. And they did that every day. And that was how they were able to get those unbelievable results for about 4 or 5 years on the run. Yeah,
True.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Just go for it.
Final words?
That's it. Just
Just go for it.
You have something, just go for it.
And from you, Mr. Carr, final word on the
I
proverb?
concur with
Just go for it.
for it, yeah.
And that's probably
Just
where
do
Nike got the idea, just do it. So that brings a conclusion to the Kicking Around the African Proverb. We'll go for a quick break, and when we come back, we'll delve into what the newspapers have to say. So do stay tuned. Don't go away.
Introducing the all-new Q Mobile. Rediscover the essence of mobile communication with a device that brings you back to basics: quality, simplicity, and reliability. The Q Mobile is designed to fit seamlessly into your life, offering essential features without the fuss. 72-hour battery life, keeping you connected longer. Listen to news, prayers, or your favorite shows with the FM radio on Q Phone. A built-in torchlight, always ready when you need it, memory card slot for expandable storage, and dual SIM capability for flexibility and convenience. Why wait? Step into any of our care centers today and get your hands on the most affordable phone for just $600. Plus, enjoy a bonus package of 300 minutes talk time and 300 SMS spread over 3 months. Absolutely free. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, senior boss. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello and welcome back. There you're watching This Morning here on QTV, and today you've got the 3 wise men, well, 2 wise men and myself. You've got Mamadou Mboj, Malik Carr, and Ibrahim Abalde is not around today, and when he does come back, the first thing I'll teach him is how to switch off his tablet, Ibrahim. But now let's delve into what the newspapers have to say. And first up, I have the Point newspaper. It says court visits Paolo Jabi's seized vehicles. Now, I confess ignorance about this one, but Mr. Carr thinks it might be to do with a court case about an alleged drug dealer.
Yeah, I think this is just due process.
Right.
There were allegations against him,
Mhm.
but it's not concluded yet.
Yeah,
that
it's
he
in court,
was
yeah.
dealing with drugs and so on.
Right.
So his assets were confiscated.
Right.
I think there was a ruling in his favor that he should access his asset and also money in
Right.
his bank account
Right.
to pay his lawyers and then also administer looking after his family.
Okay.
That was the ruling in
Right.
his favor.
Okay.
So everything was put in the freezer until then.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. So, yeah, new one on me. So, top left of that same newspaper, access to information key in fostering good governance. I was actually at this event yesterday, and there's a picture of Nene McDowell-Gay, who is the chair of the Information Commission, which will oversee the Access to Information Act. And I don't think it's unfair or I'm being rude to say that, kind of casting around the room, I did ask the question how many people had read the Act, and shame to say not many had. It's not that long, it's 53 pages, but if we want to hold public bodies to account, I think we all need to read it, because then we can make informed decisions. For example, people didn't realize that somebody who denies an access or destroys information that somebody has requested could end up in jail for anything up to a year, pay a fine of anything up to $500,000, 500,000.
Tampering with evidence, essentially.
Yeah, Dallases.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I mean, what's your view on access to information now that the Act? I mean, the Act's been around since 2021, but we've not kind of made it operational yet.
I think in this day and age, in any democratic setting, transparency and accountability are key words. And you cannot have those in the absence of, Freedom of Information Act. People ought to know, because people that are in public offices assigned responsibilities are public trustees to whom funds and other responsibilities are assigned.
Yeah.
So therefore there is no need for things to be hidden to the public, especially if it doesn't interfere with national security and other aspects which are exemptions. Other than that, everything should be in the public domain.
Yeah.
If I give you the responsibility to look after my money, I should be able to know the trail of the money, or you're doing it, so you shouldn't be hiding it from me unless you have other motives. So if I want to know, you should be able to give it to me. These are just normal things that you find as routine in most Western or democratic societies. Yes, there would be feet dragging. I'm sure there are exceptions to which, the courts will be able to look at and make a case to say that, this cannot be in the interest of public view. So therefore, we will not allow you to access it. It's not in every instance that you should know. But by and large, people should be able to access information, and then the public are entitled to know.
But what's your take on it?
My take on this is this, yes, Nene McDowell-Gay, the chair of the commission, and that is my first point. We want these commissions to be independent and autonomous. That's really how they can really work.
Which is what the Act says.
This is what the Act says. But we know normally what we do, we sort of tend to also some kind of allegiance to the person who, or the body that appointed us, and then we become politicized. That's the fear. So there is the danger, the threat of politicization,
that came up
as we see
event.
in other commissions, in other bodies, but maybe here it need not be granted.
Sure.
The second point, the media, as you said earlier, really it is our duty now to go sort of sink our teeth into the Act, understand every bit of it, and then inform the public. Yeah, because it benefits. It's there. It's a tool. It's an instrument for all of us. So then we have to play that part, and government must do these things with good faith. Sure. We know how stingy we are with information, especially when we think that it's damaging. So these things will not work if we really do not approach it with good faith, it is easy for governments to allow these acts to be passed, but now the reality of it, extremely difficult and all the rest of it. So there must be good faith from government for these things to work.
And Malik mentioned something. He said in many Western democracies now this is taken, but in England, and one of the reasons why I've become obsessed and I've been attending all of these is because I was involved in when they brought in the Freedom of Information Act over there. And the struggle it was, because the British have always been very much into secrecy. Yep. And so the Information Commissioner actually had to issue a letter to all government departments saying just because something is embarrassing to the government doesn't mean you can't release it if it's something that should be released under Freedom of Information rules. And that's the kind of thing we're going to have here.
The independent, the autonomy, the authority, exactly.
Yeah. They are classified in every country. You have classified and
confidential, etc.
It takes off speculation as well, because a lot of things are speculated because the truth does not come out in the open. And speculation is more damaging
than the truth.
Yeah. Because sometimes the truth that you try to conceal might be in your favor for people to know the facts, rather than they speculate against you, your character. They speculate against, if they say Mr. Moj is a thief, he's been heading this particular institution and he's a thief, he's been stealing this ABC and D money, for instance, and you did not release the information that,
the evidence that disproves that.
Yeah, that explains how certain monies were used, for what purposes. Then that speculation is going to impinge or damage your character. Because a lot of people will tend to believe that without knowing the facts.
And that's what they found over in the UK, and that's what we will find here, that, and people had to be warned, don't make something confidential or secret when it's not, So, but
look at the audit reports now. They're very exciting. And they go to all these institutions, they make reports about. So they have to get to the bottom of some of these things that the audit reports are concerned about, so that will at least reassure the people that the government or the people responsible are serious about curbing corruption or also addressing issues, that are a matter of concern to the public.
That's it. And to us, this is the fear that what we're seeing in this commission is a fairly enough sample, really, to give us a flavor of what is going on out there.
Of course.
I imagine that most of these public bodies, if you were to subject them to the same scrutiny, they are subjecting this
the commission,
government, then you'll get exactly similar patterns will emerge.
But we have seen at the National Assembly that is holding to account most of these institutions in their
audit reports
in sessions, sometimes in camera, the revelations. They're astounding, but people ought to know, and the government must be on the side of the people. That is the most important thing, where you have the state being on the side of the people. Any institution or individual that is committing these acts of, whether it's misappropriation of funds or bribery or anything, they should take action against that individual.
Absolutely. And what we really have, we've got now, I think, the scientific evidence that this dysfunctional institutions, that's really at the very heart of our underdevelopment.
Totally.
The Nobel Prize winners, you were telling me to read one of them, Moglu, the Turkish, that's how nations are built. That's exactly
nations fail,
And this is it. And now we are seeing the evidence. Oh, look at all these institutions. They're all failing. That is really the key.
Strong institutions are you are right, are the foundation and the basis of development. Because you tend to have a lot of leakages, a lot of wastages, where there is corruption. And where there is lack of accountability, it is the public that suffers, because then we will not be able to do things that...
So in closing this particular one, this is Nene McDougall-Gaye quoting. It sounds like both of you agree with her contention that access to information is key in fostering good governance.
Absolutely. That's
totally.
very underlined.
Fine words in this. But the master said, now let's see some finer deeds.
You are kind of a very cynical person.
But we've been here before.
But this is them the benefit of the doubt until at some point.
Fine words, but finer deeds.
Yes,
really, we will judge the action.
Absolutely.
People only judge the action, not the rhetoric.
Right. And for anybody who is, the public watching, just remember, if you make an access to information request, you don't have to tell them why you want the information. if you have a right to request it, you can request it. You don't have to say why you want it. Thank you for that, gentlemen. And also on the bottom corner of the Point newspaper, we have GID intercepts 76, I beg your pardon, suspected migrants in 24 hours. They were getting ready to go. They'd packed, in one case, I think they'd packed a boat, and in another one, there was a lorry that had all the provisions that they thought they were going to need for their trip, this risky journey, that's so on. And one of them was a minor, so a very, very small child. But the immigration department got a tip off.
Intelligence works,
yeah.
And it's working in Senegal as well. They came to realize that you have to plant some of your agents amongst the people so that at the planning stage you can foil whatever intention they have in terms of embarking on these deadly, journeys. So once you know that, then you'll curb it. You will not completely stop it, but you will impact it in a way that it will really affect it. We will start getting to know who are the main traffickers, who are the beneficiaries financially, what places geographically, villages are they embarking from. All this information, if you have it, you can disrupt it. But now they're working very closely with most of these European countries, particularly Spain and Italy. Portugal and Italy, and these who are the most affected. I think maybe also we will see a downward spiral.
We hope so. And because too many people are dying, you wanted to say something quickly?
Absolutely. The undercover stuff, that's going to work when it comes to the investigations and trying to bust them before they leave. And also a heavy presence on the high seas. When they wanted to get rid of the Somali pirates, you saw what they did then. So anything short of that, because of this phenomenon now, is unbelievable. Numbers are going up, not coming down, in spite of all the policies that are implementing. So yes, of course, we need to have a special unit really dedicated to that, having undercover people all over the place, learning about the networks, how do you crack them, and then that heavy presence on the high seas. Perhaps that could go a long way.
That also should go along with opportunities, training and other aspects in these countries. Also, where there are conflicts, it's very difficult because people will tend, there will be more push factors,
Well, this takes us to our next story, interestingly enough, from the Standard. Italy announces plans to repatriate Gambian migrants. They went there because these are people who had said that the country was unsafe for them politically. So Italy has now deemed Gambia a safe country and is returning them. But I think if we're honest, many people who went and made these claims weren't fleeing because it was unsafe for them. We have to be honest amongst ourselves. And many people went for economic opportunities, and some of them, of course, are reluctant to come back.
And Italy also have a right-wing government, and with these right-wing governments, they have the policy of, expelling migrants. They are not friendly,
At all.
In fact, Italy have just signed with Albania to be settling as, like the
Rwanda style deal.
Yeah, that's what they did, just to ensure that, they don't settle them. But most of these Western countries must also come to accept the fact that they are having aging populations, especially Italy. The population is aging very, very fast, and they don't have people you see entire villages.
Italy, Spain, Portugal, all three of
you
those
see
countries.
Entire villages no longer habited because there is no one there, and they need some of these services that some of these migrants do bring. So they ought to work a strategy where they can accommodate, some of these people.
Well, I guess Pedro Sanchez was here. I mean, that was part
he's
of
a progressive
what
kind
he
of
was trying to propose, although he met some
Spain have a
from
progressive government, more accommodating. But with Italy, there is this fearmonger, and very right-wing kind of. They are kind of the Trump kind of mentality.
When you've taken in over 1 million migrants in about 5 years, I think it's beyond just fear-mongering. It's the reality of what they're dealing with. It's a lot of people. And in very small sort of enclaves, really.
Yes, and even, Sanchez, yours, left of center. But what does he say? He said, migration is not a problem. Well, it's just that it comes with certain problems that we have to address.
Sure.
Yes, so what is Spain's strategy here, really? There are certain sectors, agriculture, tourism, and others, they've got labor shortages.
Shortage, yeah.
They want to take care of that. And of course, we know that they would rather have people from other white countries, from other European countries, let me put it that way. But again...
But those people don't want those jobs.
That's it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So they will come around here to get them. There's one aspect, really. And then, so now when we pitch ourselves amongst them, what do we want from them? What do we want this deal to do? What numbers would be affected?
Sure.
How much of a dent, what impact would it have on the overall numbers that want to go backward?
And that's what National Assembly members were asking here.
Yeah,
They said, you know, this is meant to be part of solving our unemployment crisis, but, you know, we don't know the figures. We haven't seen the figures.
For me,
yet.
it should not be addressed as such to be looking to reducing our unemployment. Yes, that should be that, but we should have a better strategy as a nation, you know, to have something, you know, much more broader and more deep in terms of, you know, what we want for our population in terms of jobs and all that. Yes, it's not bad to have these agreements, to send some of them to go and do seasonal work and then come back, but training and skill centers and provision of jobs, these are things that a state cannot, you know, assign, or so to speak, you know, give to other people. We must assume.
And I guess we've seen some of those being set up, haven't we?
Yeah,
you know, across the nation to kind of address the kind of skills shortage, because a lot of these people they're totally unskilled.
Yeah.
And you know, those countries don't particularly want unskilled workers.
No.
You know, unless it's to kind of pick potatoes and
but those countries also can start looking to training, you know, these youngsters so that they can be of good to society.
Although they don't think it's their job. They think it's ours.
It will eventually be their job, considering you know, the numbers that are going there.
Yeah, but
they have
to be fair to them, you know.
But for us who are serious about these things, of course, the training, you cannot knock it. Anything like that, you cannot knock it. What impact it will have on the overall strategy, that is something else. But one thing we know is that it's a multidimensional issue. Sure. You have to take care of the trainings and all of that, but you also have to take care of other dimensions of the issue for us to get the right outcomes. So it is just what gets our back up sometimes is that one wants to overplay the significance of these trainings, thinking that after the training we will be sorted. That is really what we go against. No. That's one aspect, but it has to work with other aspects as well. If other aspects do not go right, you are not going to have any impact on anything.
Yeah, true. And if we go back to the 76 migrant story, our colleague Lolly M. Kamara, who covered the story, spoke to some of them. None of them wanted to speak on camera, but all of them just said, you know, we're seeking better opportunities. That's why we were trying to go on this thing, you know, economic opportunities. You know, we're hoping that we land there and we'll get a job. Every one of them. That was the reason.
Yeah,
and I guess we know that anyway.
Disparity of wages as well, what they pay you when you go and you're able to impact your family, your society, you know, build homes, make more comfort, feed your family. These are very important things one must not downplay. And these are the pull factors that make people to leave. Also, I know if we delve deep into it, these are residues in many ways of colonial relationships, you know, the East-West kind of block, the impoverishment of the third world, the conflicts, you know, the lack of opportunities, trade, you know, all these policies that are designed within the IMF. So you see, countries are struggling to get out of that mold. As you know, we are having the conference of the Commonwealth member countries also
as we speak
in Samoa, and all these things tend to show that relationship, that bilateral relationship with the former colonies. And
we discussed this, and we were saying, you know, now they're saying that they should, you know, after all these years, they've never really made it a kind of trade bloc. And they're saying that, should they make it that?
Absolutely.
You know, but it's never been
it's
that.
a huge market.
It's a huge market, but it's never been that. And it seems a bit late in the day, because they've all got, you know, Australia, they're closer to China geographically and otherwise. So
it's never too late for them to accommodate some of these small countries and open up the markets and make it a big market. It's a huge market.
But you just can't see it happening.
No, I don't see it happening either. I'm not sure that we're likely. I don't know whether we have time for another story. My producer will tell me. We do. And so in that case, we, again, at the Standard, Actually, no. Let's go to Foroya. In the middle of the Foroya, it says GPU unveils the state of the media in Gambia to the to the African Commission. I haven't read it, and they've got Modou Diouf, Secretary General of GPU, on the cover there. It would be interesting to see. But gentlemen, what is your interpretation rather of the state of the media in the Gambia?
I think it could be more vibrant than it is. I think it is not as solid as strong for a number of reasons. One, because of lack of resources and finances, and these are challenges also, especially when it comes to areas of print media. Still, their printing is very poor, it's very weak, and the stories, the analysis also.
I went to, I think it was Nana Gray Johnson who put on an exhibition of newspapers at the Alliance Française last year, or maybe the year before last, and there were newspapers from the 1950s and 1960s that were better printed than the ones in 2023.
Exactly.
I couldn't believe it.
Talking about the laws and the restrictions, some of the bad laws are still in the books that needs to be expunged or completely revamped in order to ensure or assure that, you know, certain things will not lead you to prosecution because of their most of the time non-issues that are because of it was a dictatorial constitution that have, you know, inserted most of these things. I think.
And interestingly, in the Point newspaper, there's another GPU-related story which is actually on that. It says it tasks ACHPR to engage the government on draconian media laws. Again, these are a holdover from colonial times. Some of the laws that we're talking about, 1920. Some of them from 1898. Successive governments left them there because it was convenient that one day they might want to use them against journalists, but they're completely outdated, and even the people who bequeathed us those laws have expunged them from their books, but we still retain them for some bizarre reason. And so they're asking them to, you know, step in and convince the government that, look, you know, get rid of these laws.
Absolutely, and we have to say this, 2016, 2017, our president now really promised to get rid of them.
Yes.
What, 7 years, 7 years on, 7 years on, it doesn't matter what reasons there are for this, we haven't repealed them or changed them.
You know, sedition, laws of sedition.
Well, where we are most weak is investigative journalism. That would have really challenged and exposed the government as to really they want to. As long as that doesn't exist, most of these cases you don't have real.
Absolutely, but that was going to be my second point.
Actually,
all of that, and we've seen it. I think we've got a good feel of the landscape. We've interacted with them. We listen to them, and I keep telling you, we're having to relearn journalism.
Yes.
There was a time nobody really did journalism. There was no journalism in this country.
Yes.
The younger ones had no elders, as it were, to emulate, to learn from. Everybody ran away. The institutions that were teaching them, even the teachers were not qualified to teach what they were teaching. So we went through a dreadful period. It's been 7 years. So look at most of them went to sports journalism.
Yep.
So really the field of
option.
journalism was really
during
very bad.
That's what he's mean.
It destroyed them. This is what my point is.
Yeah.
With Barra now, and with these things, it takes time to learn.
Sure.
It's a vocational thing, not an academic stuff.
Sure.
You learn it by doing it. So it takes years for you to understand how to do it. You can have 200 PhDs and be a terrible journalist, you know that. So we have to necessarily go through this period of relearning things. So it will be important perhaps for experienced people to come around and join in with the kids, with the younger generation, and perhaps to show them a perspective, an angle that they had never seen before. And I think it's sometimes with some you touch something, you can make a difference.
Sure.
And it helps.
I think that's a brilliant point to end on. Just say thank you, Mr. Carr, for joining us for this newspaper review. Some interesting stories there that elicited some interesting comments. And we'll take a break. And after the break, we will have Njaga Toure, Executive Director of the National Environment Agency. And we'll be talking about waste management. Join us after the break.
Felenting a Q Smart and in Q Smart Plus na falie hade natal seniaringol set aka wallata akata bake yenyin soto kat ko mobile tariyarim ba andum foka pare ala batterio beta la wati jande aka ji Q Smart ya 5.9 immersive display la soto nyindu mu dalasi wuli sabanin kemenani da malati ni mobile o nyin sang iba bondulo soto la min tata for 15 GB andung kemeni muang free talk time fanam betara yele warning keme saba SMSO foka pare nyimbe mu free lati ni mobile o nyin sang walante fana ni lafta Q Smart Plus la wo fanam bijele ice screen warman bala soto minketa 6.5 inches te anin dalasi wuli nani damma isa nyi mobile o soto no andu foka pare afana nim bundle package ole nata iba 30 GB data soto la yekeme saba SMSO soto ani yekeme ni muang talk time soto nyimbe dun hani feng ita jula kana tu koma ila Q Smart ni ila Q Smart Plus soto B kabo Q Cell la isa nyi mobile o soto no B na customer care build o mimba nyi banko kan momo lafta kuma ko yo moyla nyinto isa na customer care bunjulola ni 111 Q Cell sunyu boss dole silo wala dole abulan noma nyindum ani sartolle nata
It's happy time. Get 50% off all calls to any network. Enjoy calls every day to any network from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Is it too good to be true? QCell. We innovate, others follow. As the fastest growing GSM company in the Gambia, QCell has the widest 4G plus coverage in the country, 3 times faster internet speed than our competitors. So switch now and dial *335# and enjoy what true 4G feels like. QCell, Gambia's trusted network. QCell.
Hello, welcome back. You're watching This Morning on QTV, and if you're just joining us, you've missed a really enjoyable run through the newspapers and also the African proverb. And before we go to the next segment, I'd just like to say a very quick hello to the young kids who were leaving school yesterday, going home, and they were calling me from across the road on Kairaba Avenue. And guess what? They all called me Mr. Darami. None of them called me Mr. Drame. So kids, well done. Some people could learn from you. And next segment, we have Dr. Dauda Baji, Executive Director of the National Environment Agency. And welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And a pleasure to have you here. Anybody watching will know that waste management is a kind of obsession of mine. Exactly. So it's a pleasure to have you here. Now, we recently ran a story where you signed an NEA with Sonaget from Senegal. And I just wondered if you could tell us some of what that is all about, because even before we came on air, we were talking about waste management and the problems of waste management here in the Gambia.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be here. I think it's a pleasure. Well, as you know, waste management is a big challenge for the country and almost global. And the Gambia is of no exception. We have been battling with this issue of waste management for quite a long time, and then we cannot live with waste. So as a country also, it is important that we look into other ways of how we can put our energies together to address issues related to waste. And in that, in 2020, last year COP, I think there was a presentation that was done by Sonaget in Dubai. And then the minister felt those things are very pertinent and whether it can be done in Gambia. So they linked me with that institution. So we have been working on over a period on how to put things together. But the best thing to do is to work on an MOU.
Sure.
How can we put our energies together? What are they doing better than what we are doing? And how can we put those put together through a memorandum of understanding? And that led to that signing of the MOU, I think last Wednesday, I think.
So for us here in the Gambia, what does that mean in practical terms? What will they be doing that we haven't been doing?
Yes, and we've realized that in terms of capacity building, and then also trying to transcend this cycle. You know, there's an issue of using waste as income generating situation, which is more of promoting the circular economy, and also issues related to capacity building, trying to build the capacity of people surrounding issues related to waste, so that they are aware of what is happening. You know, if you look at the waste in general terms, in reality, the municipalities are responsible of taking care of waste.
Yes.
And go in those municipalities and then assess the people who are really dealing with waste.
Because that was going to be my next subject.
Yes, so you realize that apparently it is just like you have been here for a long period, you can take care of this. But not necessarily, this is beyond, the issue of waste is beyond how we think as a normal issue. And that's why it is important for us to look into that aspect of capacity building, and also what you call putting technical support to support each other in terms of technical terms, and also coming up driving of certain policies that are geared towards enhancing issues related to waste management, and as well as working together to develop a project proposal. That will be able to help the support, because it's a very expensive venture. And then if you want to have a strong, very good engineering landfill, it involves a lot of money. I can remember sometime back in Bakweta, you see now, I can remember sometime back there was a kind of, which was almost $40 million was spent to, but because it was poorly done. So apparently, you know, because people just felt that it's something that can be done the way it should be done. So these are some of the things that we're trying to look at, how we can put our energies together. And for example, if you travel, sometimes people question, well, how is it possible we're going to learn something from Senegal, looking at the situation? But if you go inside some parts of the cities, you realize that there's a lot of things going on that is totally different on how we are doing things. So this is some of the main reasons why we want to come together and put our energies together to see how we can collaborate with work.
Sure. So before Mboj comes in, you kind of touched on it, the municipalities. I wanted to ask whether this deal involves some element of working with them, because as you said,
in fact they are there. Apparently almost all the municipal councils were invited. Because this one, we as an institution, our role is to make sure that we bring enabling environment, because they're going to work with these municipalities. We're going to support them on technical issues. We're going to support them in terms of coming up with project proposal, but at the end of the day, how those projects going to operate is going to work with them. But in the long term, it is important for us as a country to look into institutionalizing waste management. Whether we can come up with either privatize it and then support it in another way around, so that efficiency and effectiveness can be there. But if you want to look at it as business as usual, we're not going to solve the problem. So these are some, and that's what Senegal, the Sonajet is actually a government supported.
Yes, it's a parastatal.
Parastatal.
Yes.
At least they do, but there's a support from government to ensure that they're able to do. So that one, if you're going to get a private or whatever, at the end of the day, the support should be there to ensure that they're able to, because that one is but if you want to leave the way it is, we'll be talking for a long period of time, and the solution will be far-fetched.
And there are added benefits to doing with this. Before Mboj comes in, on Sunday, the World Health Organization announced that Egypt was now declared malaria-free, having gone 3 years without any cases. And if you read the extended report, what the Egyptians said, that for 100 years we tried to combat this, one of the things that helped us was waste management.
Absolutely.
Better waste management.
Actually,
and it's kind of hidden in the report, but it's highly significant.
No, but to be honest, you know, waste is a kind of a medium of all kind of pathogens, all kind of things that vermin that normally associate with giving, providing sickness to people. So essentially, if you address the issue of waste, even in our own homes, a home that is very, very clean, it's likely that you're not going to be facing a lot of other things that are here to transmit some of these pathogens to our system. So it's a very, very important thing, and I think it is an important move. We have to make sure that, as I said in the signing ceremony, that we have signed a lot of things. For me, a practical person.
Mr. Mboj and I are always going on about this. So, but Mboj, you wanted to come in.
Yes, just a quick one there. Senegal, I've read some reports saying that they represent sort of a new phase in Senegal in waste management, more industrialized. The circular economy, you call it. So they've come up with structures in which you can really extend the life cycle of products.
Absolutely.
That sort of thing. But earlier on, you mentioned so many shortcomings about our whole structure. What can we achieve with this in the short term? Can we begin to see sort of tangible, sort of concrete things?
Yes.
In a year's time, for instance, what should we expect to see?
Absolutely, because the MOU has some time milestones. One of the things that we want to work on effectively to set up that the ad hoc kind of technical committee that is going to look at what can we do now. And this is something because we also went round. We also went round to some of these facilities that are handling this waste, particularly the backwater and all that. And then, based on our own analysis, this thing can actually change to something very good within a short period of time, which we want to look at. That some of the things that we want to look into. And the other thing is also because you look at there are opportunities in terms of coming up with a project. Truth to be told, but Senegal, at least they have a lot of connection when it comes to this project aspect. So we felt that also can help us a lot when we develop some of these projects, and this project can easily come here to support the other aspect. Even though we have other similar but minimal projects that are in the country that are also geared towards assisting municipalities in addressing. Well, the saddest part is most of the time, I think we have in Gambia, or whatever I may call it, we have a situation where we all rely on, when projects come, people don't actually, they're not visionary in terms of how do I want to move from one end to another. And then if you always think of yesterday and you don't think about what's going to happen in 100 years or whatever, then your going towards achieving something will be limited. And sometimes we have a project and still is there. You can see we've supported almost all these municipalities. And I can remember sometime you even called me for an interview where when I came in and we came up with what you call national, a meeting of all the municipalities to come up with a roadmap. What are the problems in all your regions? How can we address? We had a 2-day in Kairaba where we come up with a roadmap. And now they mention certain issues. And the project supported most of them. But go there. I visited in some of those areas, and some of the council charged $700 to fill some of these tricycles. You are telling a project have to come and put. Sometimes it's very, very. I'm not actually critical, but this is the reality. And
I think that's the kind of reality that Mboj and I are trying to tease out, what's going to be different this time. you know, because
so this
really,
is one of the things that I actually engage with the minister. I think we have to look into how to institutionalize this. If we're going to bring the private sector, the private sector will be very, very vibrant, and then whatever government can support to ensure that this is attainable. I say in most of the other world, you find out that that is there. Somebody is in the front, and then whatever support you do, and he does whatever, and then that will help us to address some of these issues. And that is one of the things that we're looking into, like what is happening in Sonajet.
Right.
And,
is there an element that we're kind of missing, which is a kind of community outreach?
Yeah. In fact, that is part
because
of,
that's what
Yeah, in fact, that is also part of this awareness, community awareness, trying to explain to the people. And as I always say, the people know what they are doing has a detrimental effect on them. Apparently, they will. I always say the notion that everybody want to go to heaven, but nobody want to die. And you can never go to heaven without tasting death. So if you know where you are leading to, what you are doing will lead to this. At some point, that will some change of attitude. Because our attitudinal towards waste is also just a lackadaisical way of doing things. You just, whatever you do, you just throw it, you do this thing, you know. And we working towards actual enforcement is actually difficult because certain laws also do not cover some of these things. But now we currently I had an engagement with the IGP to have a police brigade that's going to support
and sort of enforce.
Yes,
because we have some of the laws anti-littering and so on. They're
so
there, but
now we agreed on that. They already supply us a police detachment that's going to work with NEA. Whenever we go out, they are there to support in terms of enforcement. So and issue the issue of when throw from the car, all those kind. When you get to you, just so sometimes we have to do that. It's not easy, but we have to, because at the end of the day, you look at the bigger picture. What you are doing, the actions you are doing, the implication it has on the general public. And that is what is key now. Sometimes we don't look at what interests you or what favors you, but look at what is the bigger picture. And if you think it in that line, as a country, as a people, we will achieve a lot.
The kind of lack of respect for the civic space.
Yes.
But you wanted to come in before we wrap up
absolutely. The community outreach. I mean, you do have all of these civil society organizations. They do organize this community outreach to sensitize people on being clean and all the rest of it. But it doesn't seem to be having any effect. We've been having these things for years. So whatever we're doing is not really giving us the outcomes we want. Perhaps should we rethink how do we engage in a more productive, as it were? It's really not happening. Because that is really very worrying.
I think Dr. Baji mentioned it when he said, we want to get to heaven, but we don't want to die. Somebody who will complain about filth will be the person who 5 minutes later will finish his attire, whatever, and throw the cup out onto the...
How do you deal with that?
How do you get people?
I think one of the things that was very prominent in terms of this engagement, effective engagement with the community, as you said. Sometimes when you talk to people, like for example, some time back I was here when you came with this sniper. Now it's very difficult to see the sniper.
Right.
Because why? The engagement with the people, the discussion, at least, and the real enforcement has helped us because the laws were there to really back up that one. Now it will be very difficult for you to fight. I remember some time back we also have a serious raid where you can see all kind of, and then I have to thank QTV for being with us all the time. And then now if you search for a sniper, it will hold you to the whole market. Nobody's gonna see. So these are some of the things. So we realize that at some point we really have to move in a way, and that kind of sometimes it's expensive per se as an institution, looking at what is involved to do all those kind of, but it's worth it. And this is what we want to look into. And then in the process of doing that, community outreach, engaging them, which we because now we establish a lot of other community we have set up community and we support them in what need to be done. All the time you will see a lot of people coming that we want this so that we're able to clean our areas here and there. But waste management is beyond just taking from your house and put it in the street. It's a whole, you have almost 6 elements dealing with issues related. When I take from my house, how is it going to reach, how is it going to be stored for a period? Where is it going to be stored? If I take, how is it going to be transported from where it's supposed to, where is it going to be dumped? And what kind of transformation activity that's supposed to take place within that before it finally goes away. So these are things that we feel when you look at our infrastructure, it is actually lacking. And this is something, but with this kind of thing, we felt that we'll do what is necessary to bring a change. It may not be a drastic change as we may, but I think sometimes I always believe that I want people to see the result. And the result, rather than actually talking about it. Yeah.
So, Zembod talked about short, medium, and long term. So if you were put on the spot, you've read the MOU, you've seen that, you've been involved in it. If you had a kind of 5 years from now, what would you like to see? 10 years from now, what would you like to see as a result of this? What would your dream ambition be?
Because in fact there are 2 things that we have done within a week. One of them is the NAP, which my deputy came here and talked about, which is also related to issues related with the National Action Plan for eliminating plastic, which is also a component of waste. So the short term we want to do is actually to come up with a very rigorous enforcement. And that is something that we're working on. We put in all the necessary plans and to ensure that at least people, the way people think about how they can litter anyhow is not going to. And we felt with that enforcement, we're going to at least bring some change. And while we work on all that long-term issues in terms of development, because we're looking into getting even what we call a landfill, but it's actually even difficult to get land where this is supposed to be. Because of the experience of Bakote, because of the experience
it has to be far enough away from
no
residential
neighborhood,
areas.
no neighborhood, because that is also the way people look at waste. They perceive, and they are right. There was a time I was in a meeting, I was telling them, if you come up with a design, I was discussing with the councils, and I said, if you come up with a design and say that this is what is going to be near you, and this is how the recreational is going to be around you, sometimes people will really reflect it twice. But if they feel, oh, I'm going to be dumping here,
it's going to be another
nobody want to. So these are some of the things that we're looking at. It's actually tough, but for the immediate terms, it's going to really involve in the enforcement aspect. And I'm very pleased that at least we get the support from the police. And we even want the IGP mentioned that we want even to replicate all those in all our regions, so that any office will have a detachment of police enforcement officers. Whenever we go, we go with that. So that alone, for me, will help us a lot in trying to see things improve as we move along.
Thank you, Dr. Baji. Thank you for coming. And
appreciate it. Yes.
And we really are looking forward to this one. And
yes,
as I said, it's an obsession of mine. So
absolutely, absolutely. And I think, and it all starts from our homes.
Sure.
You know, when we teach our children what to do in terms of waste here and there, when they buy their ebers, when they buy their whatever, you know, when they start there, and then also, in fact, let me add something very important. We also now develop a curriculum that is going to be put into the schools. We work with the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education to develop a curriculum. We call them Catch Them Young Initiative.
Brilliant.
So that from the primary school up to the secondary school, children have to be taught about taking care of the environment. So we expect that is a vision. Maybe in the next 100 years, not our time, those are people, or 150 years, those are the people who will take care of the thing.
It won't take that long, trust me. In Cape Verde, it didn't take that long.
So
20 years and they did it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, so that is also something that we have already validated a document. It's just launching and then putting it into working on how to put it into the education system.
So thank you, Dr. Baji. And we'll go for a break, and when we come back, we'll be speaking to the author of the book, entitled My Father's Mistake. I bet you want to know what that mistake was. I certainly do. Join us after this break.
QCell, the fastest growing network in the Gambia, now presents to you the eSIM. QCell's eSIM allows you to electronically scan a code and join the world of digital SIM cards. Customers with physical SIMs can easily switch to the eSIM as well. So rush now and get connected with an eSIM and start using the latest mobile technology with your trusted GSM operator. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sinubus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Get a QCell SIM card for free. Yes, absolutely free. Walk into any of our customer care centers and get a SIM free of charge. With a QCell SIM card, you can get the fastest and the most reliable internet plus wide range of amazing services. So rush now to any of our care centers and get a free SIM now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell Sunubus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Have you been looking for the perfect indoor router with long-range Wi-Fi coverage and faster internet speed connecting all your smart devices? Well, we present to you the QCell Indoor Router, a router that has all you need and much more. For just $4,275, you can get 4G plus internet speed, wide coverage, and connect up to 15 devices. That's not all. The indoor router can be used for both office and home needs. So, enhance your internet experience with our indoor router. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sinubus. We innovate, others follow.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
Hello and welcome. You're watching QTV's This Morning. I'm Ari Darami and we're now on to the final segment of today's show. And I'm delighted to say we welcome an author, Boubacar Balde. Boubacar, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Mr. Darami.
And a pleasure having you here.
Yeah, thank
now,
you.
I said my colleague Ibrahim Abalde had read the book and I had not.
Yeah.
I had to confess that. But I was intrigued by the title, My Father's Mistake. Everybody's listening, poised. Tell us about the book. Well, first of all, tell us about yourself. You look rather young. Is this your first book?
Yeah, that's my debut.
Okay, good. And so tell us. Yes.
Good morning to QTV and good morning to everyone watching here, including Mr. Drame and rest of the staff in the studio. My name's Boubacar Balde. I'm a young Gambian writer and author. I was born in Basse, URR, Kantora district.
Okay.
Who have come a long way through the writing. I have been an executive member of the Young Writers for now like 4 years, and this is my debut book and it's titled My Father's Mistake.
And without giving everything away, tell us a bit about the book, because we would want people to go out and buy it, so you can't tell them the beginning and the end, but just tell us kind of what it's all about.
So about the book, I will just highlight some important stuff that are included in the book, My Father's Mistake. It should have been said Our Father's Mistake, but I choose to say My Father's Mistake. Okay. Yeah, because it's a common mistake that our parents commit at home. This is not a rational stuff. It depends on one thing, and that is early marriage, which is categorized under sexual and gender-based violence. My father's mistake have gone beyond expected in the country and internationally, because many others internationally and many white men out there who want the book are working hard to put it on the Amazon or other place where they can get it.
Okay.
My father's mistake, as I launched it last Saturday, as a young writer, is a tool that I am using to fight against sexual and gender-based violence. Right. It's an act that is very common in Africa and in Gambia in particular. Okay. Yeah, so my father's mistake is a book written by me. I am a 19 years old Gambian writer. As I told you, my name is Boubacar. About this book, I am using it to fight against sexual and gender-based violence.
Was there something that happened that made you want to take up this fight in real life? Because this is a fictional one, but is it based on real events? Yeah,
actually the story is a fiction, but reading it, the moral lesson there, what it teaches you, you learn that is something that is happening. That is happening at our home, because we live in a society where you know that the father have always the final decision, and let me say they are not always perfect. So this is something that I came up with also to make them realize that there are some errors they make at home. Because talking about this book is a story about a young girl. The girl was forced to marriage by the father at very young age. And the girl was very academically, she was very good at school. But the father made a decision that the girl should be given out to a young man who was said to be rich. I cannot say who was rich, who was said to be rich.
They thought he was rich.
They thought he was rich, and at the end of the day, they all regret the action. The girl even ended up dying. So my father's mistake is a book mainly for sexual and gender-based violence, most especially early marriage.
Now, you come in.
I wonder, it's a bit of a sort of maybe naughty thought. I wonder, does this father realize that he had made a mistake? Or is this the son pronouncing judgment on the father? But does the father actually realize that he made a mistake?
Of course he did. Of course he does. There is a point at the book that he said, I regret why I gave out this guy.
Right.
Yeah, see, he realized it earlier in the pages of the book, like quarter to the finish. He realized it.
What led him to this realization? It will be interesting. What was the epiphany, the point of epiphany?
I'll still be beating around the bush.
Fine, this is all right. So just tease us, tease us.
Like, what make him regret the thing is like some of the consequence of early marriage the girl faced.
Right.
Because the girl was not far from her. The girl was just married in this village to the village where he is living. And every day reports are coming. And in fact, he is seeing with it that some of the things the girl is facing there. So those are some of the actions that he regretted. He even sat with the friends and tell them that I regret. And although the friend advised him that earlier, don't try this, don't do this, but he never listened because he was thinking that that man will be rich forever. Yeah.
So in terms of when you came to write the book, did you think to yourself, now I'm going to either write a short story or I'm going to write a book? Before this, what sort of writing had you done?
Actually, I am someone who have started writing long ago. I do write a lot. I do write stories, which you know that they are based like, I use common names and common places in the Gambia here. I post them on Facebook and other stuff. People reach out to me, why not you combine this and write a book? I always tell them I will write, but it is a matter of time. When it is time, I will write. Yeah, and this is my debut book. Like, I wrote it for 4 to 5 months back. Yeah. And I launched it last Saturday.
And the process of actually writing it was the fully formed idea that when you sat down, you kind of knew the journey you wanted the story to take? Was that all already formed, or did it kind of, as you went along, it changed and until it became whatever?
The way I write is like, things come every night. I do stay late of a night, imaginative. Like I do imagine and write. It's not something that I have even idea of. When I was starting, every night, like 1:30 to 2 o'clock, that 30 minutes, I will at least write some thousands of words to add there every night. The story was going. I will sit and calculate what should be the next setting. How are we going to take it next? Then the following night, I will bring it in that way. I will make it to a post. It was not something that I have idea. As I was going, I was getting it,
Hegel's Owl of Minerva. arrives at dusk.
That's right.
His muse also arrives at dusk.
Right.
Let me put it this way, though. You write about characters and the like.
Yes.
What do you think is the strongest human motivation to act? What is really the inner spring when people act? What do you think from a literary angle? And you write about characters.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you must about think about this. What really moves the needle? What really makes people act? What do you think?
You know, serving as a character in a book is something that can be difficult and something that cannot be difficult. This book, I decided to use our common names in the Gambia here. A book where you have Khadija, Aisha, you have Fatu, Mustafa. Those are the common characters in the book. Okay. Character is something also that you can use as a marketing strategy. Because if you are Mustafa and you realize that Mustafa is the heroine in the book, yeah, of course you will grab a copy of the book because you will be thinking that you are the Mustafa there. Also, some of them have been reaching out to me complaining that their name has been fall under like the wicked ones in terms of the characters. Right. I just tell them it is like that, it's a play. Yeah, but like book is something like a movie. It's something when you read, as time is going, you will think that you are watching, you will think that it's something that is real. Yes, because there is this boy who read the book, and yesterday he texted me and he said that if this was real life, these two guys in the book, I will have fight them. Because of the way they have treated the girl.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, so what? Yeah. So in terms of, as Mboy was asking there about character, is it a case that people act because of what they believe, what society believes, what society expects? What is it that drives them to take certain actions? Is it because, oh, this is what I believe, or this is what I think I should do because this is what is expected of me, either the father or anyone else?
Literally, under this one, they act in the form of their culture, starting from the father, because that action was a culture, because there were people from the government in the book who reached out to the dad and tell him that like this action should not be done, she is underage. Like he was like, this is what we know, this is our culture, we have been doing this since. So you cannot come just and tell us that we cannot practice our culture. You see, he is taking it to culture and religious related stuff.
Sure. Right.
Yeah.
So yes,
that was interesting how people sort of identify with characters. I remember having a conversation with one person. I said, when you read art or you even watch a movie, yes, identify with the character if you like, but try to find out what the writer is trying to do here. When you have a dialogue, what is the writer doing here? There's always art behind the dialogue, as it were. Do you have an ideology of writing?
Yes.
You're young, granted, but I'm sure as you write, then you start to ponder, start to mull over certain questions come into your mind about character and society and the like, isn't it?
I'm someone who don't depend on people, like saying is my mentor, I have to go advise, like in this media, everything is there. I stay up late night, to go to YouTube or other websites, sit and watch about what I love and what I am doing. Love and what I'm doing, watch it, see how people are doing it, see how it is done, see some of the advantages and disadvantages, and see some of the challenges I'll be facing along the way. So that tomorrow, if I am facing those challenges, I will know that it is part of the journey.
Wise. Do you have a favorite writer?
If I have to say one, I think I will not call the guy favorite, but let me try. They are good writers. Let me just take our Gambian on. I will not move out of the country.
Okay,
I will say Nana Gray Johnson.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, he's good.
That's interesting. Now, you're young, and people think it's quite young to publish a first book, 19. What other interests do you have besides writing or outside writing? Do you have hobbies and so on? And can we expect some of those to reflect in your writing in the future?
Yeah. Actually, I'm not an art student.
Right.
I am a science student.
Okay.
Yeah. And you have many advantages as a science student, and you can take many ways in the future.
Sure.
Yeah. Actually, besides writing, I am someone who have passion in many other stuff, but at this age, I think it's very good to shape my way on writing. Yeah, because writing is something that have stage development from stage one to another. Because this is my debut book, and I have seen some challenges here.
Right.
It's something that I need to improve on. It's not something that I should wait till I am age of, or let me say I am at certain age and start doing it. Because there are many people that reach out to me in the country, like some of them 25, 27. They have like they have the ability to write, but they don't have the courage to publish a book.
Right.
Yeah, because they just ask me why, how, what are some of the challenges. I just tell them, let me not discourage or encourage you. Just put yourself on the journey and it will be successful. Because when I was starting this, I was not hoping it will come to this extent.
Right.
But it's, alhamdulillah, at the end of the day.
Did you have an editor?
Yes.
And how did you get it printed?
Sorry?
The process, how did you get it printed?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Okay, let me start with the editor. It was edited by my uncle, Michael Hamadiseka.
Okay.
Yeah, he's my uncle. He has been so supportive through the journey. He guided me from editing to printing, and my printers are Baba printers down here in Kairaba Avenue. Auntie Jainaba, she printed the copies not long ago, like on Friday, and Saturday was the launching. Those my printer.
So let me hold up the book, because it's got quite an sort of intriguing front cover. So Baobab, did they also design the cover? The printers?
Baobab designed. Yes, I was having another cover first, designed by a colleague.
Right.
But later on, due to some size issue, I have to change it, and the cover is designed by Baobab too.
Yes.
Yeah, they designed it.
It's a
This is
cover.
the new cover, but there's clarification I want to make. There are some people I met earlier and present a copy. It is a different cover. We made changes.
Different
of the
cover, but the same book.
Yeah, the same book and the same picture.
Yeah.
But we make changes in the only color of the cover.
Okay.
Due to some size reason.
Okay.
Before publication.
Okay.
So how long did it take you to complete it?
I am someone who writes very fast, especially when I stay up late night. The more I write, the more ideas is coming. Sometimes I get 2,000 words before I sleep.
Right.
So
depend on how
2 weeks,
my
1
schedules
month?
are.
How long?
I would say 4 months.
About 4 months.
Yeah.
Because I guess
but
maybe
it was
you
not
changed.
continuous writing.
Right.
Sometimes I jump.
Yeah. And when you got to the end of it, you thought, that's it, I'm not going to change anything. I've got what I wanted. I'm going to take it to my uncle too.
Now, when I was done, I have a little mix of characters. Because just like some of the setting, I just mix of them. Because, like example, if someone was supposed to go to grade 9 here, when I say he was in grade 10 now going to 9, you see something I mix up. When I go over proofread it, I realize that there are some settings I need to change. If not, my uncle may not realize it. He may pass it through that way.
I know that you've said that you're a science student, but more specifically, what career do you want? Professional career?
Many dreams on the head. Actually, currently, I want to study political science in the future. If it is possible. And computer science also is on the way. I am just someone who want to have more educational career ahead. Inshallah.
And if people want to get your book, where can they get it from?
My Father's Mistake is among the most demanded book in the country currently, because from the launching to today, that was from Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I have sold many copies. I have sold many copies, because there are white people who will gather 4 copies as an order there in the country, because they were ordering since last month. Since I released the book first, the title, they were ordering, and some of them are yet to be here. And from here, in fact, there are some people who order the book. I'll be taking some copies for them. This book currently, I am working to put it on other places, but currently it's only available with me, and I can share my number and my platforms if someone want to reach out to me.
We'll tell people to contact us.
But yet still, I am working to put it in one of the bookshops and direct people there.
All right. But I think Boubacar Balde, unless Mr. Mboj has another question for you.
Well, so
like
now,
what next?
Next on the pipeline, do you,
what next?
Are you working on something, or you just relax until an idea comes to you?
Actually, I'm still a student.
Yes,
I'm still a student.
In terms of a book? is there another book?
Yes. I
In the
never stop.
pipeline.
I never stop writing.
Right.
Not even book. Like I just look at sometimes the society. There is something I need to write down. You know, at the end of the day, I may need that note in writing another book.
Right.
Actually, I cannot say I'm working on another book, but I'm writing.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes,
And,
but we still have time. Let's just
Well,
sort
yeah,
of probe
yeah.
a
Sure,
bit.
sure.
What do you think really is the role of a writer? Are you a moralist? You're here to moralize us. I do not know. What do you think is the role of a writer? Is it to make us see what is wrong with us, like to hold up a mirror, or, you know, for us to see ourselves and perhaps clean up here and there? Or are you a window to show us a completely new world? What are you as a writer? You're a bit young, but
actually,
maybe this happens.
Actually, you just used the first word I wanted to use. We serve as mirrors to the society. Because reading my book, you are reflecting some of the challenges we are seeing at the society, and you are seeing them. Yes, of course, this is my father's mistake, and I bet both of you are fathers. And it's something that when you read, you realize that it's a common mistake that is happening. Maybe two of you are not committing it, but some of your colleagues or friends
or
down there are
member.
committing it. And what best advice you can give them is reading and having a lesson of the book. Yeah, you can use it as a reference. It's something, although it's a fiction, but it's something that is true. It is happening. It's not a true life story. It's not my father who committed it. It could have been our fathers, but you know, sometimes due to marketing strategies, you have to catch the eye of the buyers, like how to. You see, when you say my father's mistake, you know, curiosity comes.
Yeah,
Absolutely. But when you look at our society, yes, where do you see the opportunity for change? Do you see that?
It comes from the youth. It is for the youth, and it's by the youth.
Do you think the youth, they have a slightly different view from their parents? Is that that's your sense?
Yes. Not very common here, but perhaps the provinces. That's where I'm from, and I know how things are there. Sometimes you speak, your father says you don't speak when I speak. And that is something that is normal, because let me say, not everyone is perfect. Father cannot be always right. When you speak, like your child speak, listen to the guy. Evaluate the information that guy have given to you and see whether this guy is making a point. Although when your point is higher than his point, call him and explain to him what you want. But when your child speak to you and you shout at the guy lose confidence. Even tomorrow the child sees something, a good point, he won't be able to come and tell you, because he lost confidence, because you are someone whose child is something like, when you shout at it, it gets frightened, like it won't be normal anymore. It won't, although we say that they don't have the mind when they are young, but perhaps shout at a child here today, tomorrow when you come and you tell the child to come, he or she won't, because you have made something, you made a right action toward this child. Yeah.
So if I were to ask you, what would you like to see happen with this book, made into a movie or something?
Yes.
For the future, is that the kind of thing that you might be thinking of?
Yeah, I'll be very glad, because it's a collective responsibility. Someone using it to make a movie or other stuff to fight against, still we are on the same line. That is just we'd be in line with the book and make before anyone going and using it with the right of the writer, with the authorized of the writer, because you cannot use someone's story without the authority. That is all what I ask for. Let just the guy seek for authority, and then you can go, because we are all in the same line. I don't think I'll make it difficult.
No, don't trust me. If a book gets made into a movie, the author gets a lot of money from it if the movie is successful. So you don't need to worry about that. But Boubacar, just thank you for coming. And we wish you every success with My Father's Mistake. It's your first book. He's 19 years old, and he's done it. And we're trying to get places where you can buy the book. But in the meantime, you can contact QTV. And we will see, what we can do about putting you in touch with Boubacar. But we wish him every success with his first book. And that brings us to the end of the show. And so until we come your way again tomorrow, Mr. Ambush, thank you for being here.
Cheers, Adi.
And once again to Boubacar, thank you for coming. And to you, the viewers, our wonderful, beautiful viewers, thank you for watching. Join us again tomorrow. Bye-bye.